Man, I love YouTube. YouTube is the only place where we can get the beautifully curated content of our dreams. It's where dreams can become reality, where I can make my wildest adventures come true. It's a place that not only can I take my deepest thoughts and create something beautiful out of them, but it's a place where I can see immeasurable pleasure and enjoyment. And you're probably thinking, Nux, you're probably talking about really well-made videos that make amazing points. Nope, that ain't what I'm talking about. You know the only thing better than finding an amazing freaking video that blows your mind? Finding a terrible freaking video that blows your mind even more. It saddens me that this is an art lost by so many people. I don't want to see generic content. I don't want to see people scamming children. Nah, fam, I want to see some downright absolute garbage content. And I found it. It was graced upon me on this lovely occasion that I discovered a trend. Mega YouTube corporation channels that just craps out content like 12 videos a day about 6 Pixar things you didn't notice with an arrow and a circle in the thumbnail that points to absolutely nothing. Today, I actually found probably one of the greatest videos of all time. Yes, this trend was covered by everyone because the title is just so goddamn clickbaity. Supervillains that were actually right. And that will get your 8-year-old mind racing. God damn! I always viewed these guys as supervillains that did terrible things, like, you know, murdering children, killing people, evil plans that destroyed cities. I mean, were they right all along? And that's what this video comes to answer, because these are 10 supervillains that were right all along, and it will blow your mind. One person did it, Screen Rant, and they got like 6 million views on the video because the title is so amazingly clickbait. Literally every other channel jumped on the trend and bandwagon as well. You got Watch Mojo's 17 side channels that all made the same video too to try to cash in a little on the theme. And you know what? They did a good job. Everyone got tons of views on this idea. That's how dope of a clickbait video it is. And I'm thinking to myself, wait a second, you got Syndrome on the thumbnail. And as you'll see soon in the video that I'm about to show you, Syndrome wasn't actually like in the right at all. I don't want to see these disastrous videos from YouTubers that just make mediocre content. Nah, fam. I want to see an ideologically corrupt individual trying to stress points to fit an agenda that will get him views and make him money, because that's exactly what this theme is. Today, I welcome you to the lovely, lovely adventure through the mind of someone so twisted in the idea of making a clickbait video that he tries to legitimately argue the fact that child murderers are ideologically correct. I actually did this live on Twitch and it was so much fun. We had to compile it, make it a video. I'm sorry. The stream went for over an hour of me ranting and raving at this lunatic, and this was compiled down to the absolute best bits. Follow me on Twitch for future streams, and this is just such a highlight. I had to put it down here. I'm sorry. Also, leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it, because being that there's a very high chance that I'll have child murder in the thumbnail / title, YouTube will not like this. I can't understand why, but they probably won't. So please leave a like to fight the algorithm. Drop me a comment of other really bad, ideologically abhorrent videos that you'd want me to make fun of on Twitch, and I'll do so. And if I have a very good time, it'll be a YouTube video, so definitely subscribe. But now enough of the blibber blabbering. I just had to get that intro right to get all my thoughts onto the table. Fam, enjoy the fireworks. 10 animated movie villains who were actually right all along, unbeknownst to you. Your foolish, feeble mind must have thought, oh, these characters are villains. They're probably wrong, but no, they were actually right. Prepare to have your mind blown by facts, logic, and philosophy by a channel that's literally created to get millions of views off terrible titles.
Only as good as the villain, or so the saying goes.
I like to agree.
When the villain may have actually been in the right. Turns out it happens quite often.
What if the villain was actually in the right? Would that change and make the movies worse? Because we think they're a good villain, but if they were right and they're not a good villain, then the show's not as good. Yeah, what does happen? Nothing happens.
Even though we were taught to hate these characters, turns out they had their own reasons for acting the way they did, and we get it.
I think some people call that motivation. When villains do, when they have reasons for what they did, it's called like a motivation, like, I don't know, a tragic backstory or something. Doesn't necessarily mean they're in the right. So we're off to a good start. I totally disagreed with every second word of that premise, but I feel like let's just jump right into it.
Before we count down, be sure to click that subscribe button.
Before they count down, subscribe. So, because after the video and you see how terrible this taste is, you won't want to subscribe then. So subscribe now.
Also, can you guess the hit animated film based off of these emojis?
Can I guess the hint animated film based off these emojis? Is it... is it Chicken Run? No, it's probably Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone.
State your con. Shere Khan is
Shere Khan was actually right. Oh man, I'm waiting for this! You know, this dude who was chasing a kid the whole movie trying to kill him. Fam?
Considering Mowgli is just a child and hasn't done anything to warrant such hatred, we definitely sided against the tiger in this conflict.
Yeah, he was an antagonist. He was chasing a kid the whole movie to kill him. That's a villain, right? That's the antagonist of the show. But how was this attempted child murder actually right all along?
But let's stop and evaluate the beef when taking in what's going on around the jungle. No matter if you're looking at the conflict in the 1800s when the original book was written or in modern times, humans are doing some serious damage to the wildlife in regions like India.
Are you kidding me? I didn't think it would be this easy. I thought I was gonna make fun of a few of them, but I hope they're not all as bad as this. What? Because humans destroy wildlife, it's justified for this bastard to kill a human kid that did nothing? Isn't that what some people like to call, racism? I mean, I don't want to be that guy, but doesn't that just kind of sound like blatant racism?
We came with weapons, hunted to the point of extinction, and burned down the jungle.
Right. That is what some humans did, indeed.
Considering Shere Khan is a Bengal tiger, an animal that's on the endangered species list, he's rightfully worried about having a human so close to him.
It's a human kid that harbors no harm towards him, unless you're against the entire race, which makes him racist. So please, tell me how this racist child murderer was actually right all along, Screen Rant.
He may be a little extreme and prejudiced in his thinking, but he's not wrong in thinking that
Damn, look at those cheeks, bro. Look at that.
Oh,
baby! He's sick, boy! He's sick!
We have done more damage than good in his point of view.
I mean, yes, but that doesn't justify killing a kid who didn't do anything wrong. I know. Anyway, let's keep moving on. So far, this definitely exceeded my expectations.
Ludicrous. Hey, Bozo, you got a brain in there?
Oh man, the kid who was abusive to toys. What a terrible villain all along. You probably thought he was a horrid monster. But no! In fact, he was right to be abusive to toys? I never really viewed this guy as such a villain anyway.
Sid was a seriously troubled kid that wreaked mayhem, torture,
Facts.
and death upon unsuspecting toys.
Man, he tortured toys, bro. Rip. This is so sad. I mean, when you're looking at signs of children, if they're gonna become psychopaths and serial killers, bro, did they torture their toys? Bro, they broke the toy soldier.
But
bro, I was just as bad as Sid as a kid, okay? When I would play with Legos, or any of those old, like, dragon Lego guys as a kid, I would make the craziest chimeras ever.
considered as bad, Sid, as the eldest, took his upbringing quite poorly. Thanks to the scene where Buzz learned he was a toy, we know that Sid's dad is something of a lazy slob and likely a drunk.
So he has bad parents, which means he could commit evil.
Doesn't seem to have any sort of positive relationship with him either, as she allows explosives to go off regularly in her backyard.
She allows explosives to go off, so she must be a terrible mother. Super Sleuth Screen Rant coming to the rescue. Because he has a bad father and a bad mother, therefore he can torture toys, which was never really such a bad thing to begin with. Like, I don't get the train of thought. A, he wasn't such a villain for torturing toys. And once you learn that they're actually sentient and there's a reason to think he's a villain, it doesn't make it okay because he had a bad childhood. If you have a guy that commits a school shooting and he's like, wow, my mom was a bitch, that doesn't, like, exempt him from the act. I don't exactly see the correlation here so much.
Plus, Sid has no idea that he was blowing up sentient toys.
Right, exactly. So we never thought he was wrong to begin with. And even if you thought he was wrong, it doesn't justify his terrible actions because, like, he wanted to get the attention of his parents. Oh, this guy? Yeah, he blew up a hospital because his dad was ignoring him. Oh, in that case, no problem at all.
If he had known that, chances are he would have put an end to his antics, which is what happened when Woody exposed the truth to Sid. So while he was a brat, sadly a product of his environment and a misguided and troubled youth.
Oh, baby, time for some Ursula. You know, the bitch that tried to, like, wipe out half the sea.
Ursula. They say never judge a book.
Not gonna lie, she thick.
Sure, Ursula from The Little Mermaid looks pretty darn evil, with her tentacles, purple skin, and white hair, but
wait a second, are you saying she's evil because she looks evil? Are you being judgmental based on appearance because of skin color or tentacles? I don't know. I don't know. If that's why you view her as a villain,
now, while the film wants us to assume that Ursula was up to no good, wouldn't it make more sense to imprison her if that was the case? Triton is known to be, well, how shall we put this, something of a human hater and has a nasty temper. So it's
So, it's true she tried to destroy the seas and kill many, many individuals, but in her defense, she was exiled, probably for being evil, but we don't know if she was evil. Solid logic there, Screen Rant, you're killing the game.
Possible that this is all Triton's fault. Think about it. If Ursula really wanted to harm Ariel, wouldn't she have cursed her or outright killed her to make a point?
No, because her plan wasn't just to harm Ariel. That wasn't like the ultimate strategy of Ursula, okay? It was to obtain like crazy powers and shit. Oh, if she's a villain, she must hurt everyone who has like a sign of good. And being that she didn't, she's actually not evil.
Instead, she gives Ariel a 3-day contract to decide for herself. Plus, she doesn't even force Ariel to sign. Well, that doesn't sound so sinister. She did end up causing havoc later in the film, but her pet eels did just die, so she's kinda justified. In the film, but her pet eels did just die, so she's kinda justified.
Oh my god, I want to hear that again! Listen to this again before I tear it to shreds for a moment.
Well, that doesn't sound so sinister. She did end up causing havoc later in the film, but her pet eels did just die, so she's kinda justified.
Her pet eels did just die, so it's kinda justified. Nani? What? Oh yes, it's true that he ended up killing countless civilians, but in his defense, his dog was just hit by a car. So, I think it's justified.
In the end, probably not an upstanding citizen, but definitely not the supervillain we were led to believe.
I don't know, pretty much all that was describing quite the supervillain.
The hyenas.
Oh god, the hyenas. All right, literal mercenaries. Let's see how they were actually right.
Lion King is one of the best films from the old Disney Renaissance and coincidentally was recently re-released on Blu-ray.
Coincidentally, like, what's the chances this movie was made and that movie was made? What a crazy coincidence.
Scar was the primary antagonist of the film. The hyenas definitely caused a lot of problems as his lackeys. They carried out Scar's every command and instigated the stampede that ultimately led to Mufasa's demise.
Right, mercenaries. Okay, I get it. I mean, first of all, they're carnivores, so they're allowed to eat meat, I guess.
Hard to forgive something like that. But the hyenas actually had it really hard if you stop to think about it.
Yeah, let's stop and think about how we should forgive these mercenaries. I'm excited.
As great and powerful as Mufasa was, he banished the hyenas from his kingdom and sent them to the Elephant Graveyard, a place full of skeletons and little light.
Bro, they were in a place with little light. It's totally okay to turn to the dark side of the Force and work as, you know, assassin.
Not much hassle for the kingdom at large, considering the circle of life is essentially their motto.
The circle of life!
With a shortage of food and being exiled, no wonder the hyenas were restless and decided to join up with Scar.
Bro, I don't get this whole logic, man. It's crazy. It's like, I grew up in a basement, so now I'm allowed to kill people? Like, that doesn't mean they were actually right.
Of course, when he took over, all the food vanished, so things just didn't work out for them in this flick.
That was it? I was waiting to get to, like, the meat and potatoes of the hyenas, but that was it. Well, they lived in a dark place, so it totally makes sense that they'd work as mercenaries and, you know, overthrow the king, right? Not only does it make sense, no. Not only is that a motive, no, but they were actually right. Yeah, life lesson for you children. If you're trapped in a cave, definitely just start killing people. Okay. Captain Hook, I like this. Happens to be, though, I love Captain Hook, so I would argue he's right all along. In fact, I would argue Captain Hook is the protagonist of Peter Pan. But anyway, that's a video for another day.
Hook. We all know to fear Hook and cheer on Peter Pan and
Nah, fam, I was cheering on Hook the whole movie. I'm weird like that, okay? I consider Dio to be the protagonist of JoJo's. It's okay if Hook's the protagonist of Peter Pan.
Classic film. Hook, the fearsome pirate, hunts down
Okay, I don't know about fearsome.
Peter incisively, which kind of makes it hard to sympathize with him. But what if we told you that we should have been cheering for Hook this whole time?
Bro, I was cheering for Hook this whole time.
And scorning Peter Pan.
Okay, I wasn't scorning Peter Pan. He was a bit of a douche.
Think about it. Peter Pan is a magical and immortal being who essentially kidnaps children and brings them to another land.
The guy's an isekai god. How can you disrespect him like that? He's the truck without the truck in isekai anime.
Furthermore, he fought Captain Hook and took his hand, resulting
Yes? Captain Hook tried to kill him. Captain Hook tried to kill him! So he fought him back and it took his hand. Well, Captain Hook lost his hand. Well, yeah!
Resulting in the infamous pirate having his famous moniker. Oh, and there's the whole alligator chasing him as a result of that loss of limb thing.
So we're saying that this guy who's trying to kill a bunch of kids is in fact justified because there's an alligator chasing him. I mean, I don't see a hole in that logic, so.
From Hook's point of view, he's totally justified in his actions.
What? Every villain's justified in their actions. It's called a motive, you dumbass. What the hell am I watching? I don't get this. He's actually right because he wants to go massacre a bunch of kids because an alligator's chasing him.
Pan is responsible for a lot of bad things happening to Hook in Neverland, and Hook only
because Hook keeps trying to kill him and fly and become immortal and stuff.
wants to right a lot of the wrongs that were done by Peter. So he hunts him down and helps of finally catching him and putting a stop to Peter's madness.
He keeps hunting Peter, though.
He's also shown himself to be trustworthy and respected as he captains his crew diligently. With Smee, he even shows off what could be described as a light friendship. When you compare all of that to Peter Pan, it makes us wonder just who
Bro, it's true he tries to massacre children, but he has a light friendship.
be described as a light friendship.
Right,
when you compare all of that to Peter Pan, it makes us wonder just who we were supposed to root for.
I mean, I was rooting for Hook all along. That's what I was saying, but I'm not going to say that he was right for trying to kill a bunch of kids because he has a light friendship and an alligator was chasing him. I mean, I don't really see the correlation personally. Oh, baby, Maleficent hour, boys! To be fair, I haven't even seen this movie, but I'm sure I'll still be able to take down their takes.
Maleficent.
Yikes.
She definitely looks evil, doesn't she?
Yeah, I mean, if we're going by appearances again, which I think in modern day society is kind of not okay.
Those
right?
black robes, her magic, and her horns scream, "I'm the bad guy, loathe me."
Okay, so because she has a black cloak and horns, she's screaming, "I'm the bad guy, loathe me." 2020, ladies and gentlemen.
Perhaps she could have done more to make herself a bit more inviting, but in the end,
that's her problem! She didn't make herself more inviting! Bro, this is so sad.
And looks shouldn't matter, and things like this could have been avoided. When the king and queen were introducing the kingdom to their daughter Aurora at the baptism, everyone and their moms got invited to that. Except Maleficent, of course.
Wait a second. So what you're saying is Maleficent was right to do all the evil things she did because she wasn't invited to a party.
That entire conflict boils down to the monarchs not inviting one person to the party.
Bro, how dare they not invite her to the party? I think it's totally justified now to try and wipe out an entire nation. Honestly, that's probably what I would do.
If they were just a bit more open-minded and inviting, then the whole spinning wheel situation and their daughter living her life in the woods wouldn't—
Bro, this is so sad. I mean, it's true she's trying to kill a child and burning shiz down and trying to, like, take over a nation. But, dude, she wasn't invited to a party. She was in the right all along.
Happened. The king and queen may not have been besties with Maleficent, but as the royal monarchy, their invite should go out to everyone and not play favorites.
Bro, the king and queen were evil all along. But Maleficent wanted to, like, kill children and stuff? Nah, fam, that's fine. That's justified. I mean, after all, she wasn't invited to a party.
When that situation boils down to one person not being invited, well, that's just being cruel. She just wanted to be included, yet she was constantly shunned and outcast by society. Maybe if we all learned to be a little more open-minded, bad things like this wouldn't have happened, right?
We have to learn to be open-minded. But she's evil because she has horns and a black cape, Screen Rant.
Right? Thankfully, we have no evil sorceresses in our time.
Or do we?
Hades.
Man, I'm excited for this one because I never really viewed Hades as wrong either.
Version. But in his animated form, he's pretty tired of being the ruler of the underworld while all the other Olympians party it up on Mount Olympus. Zeus is portrayed as a righteous dude, but we all know Zeus is a shady character. That god cheats on Hera like every day.
So, Hades is allowed to kill people because Zeus cheats on his wife. I mean, how can you argue with logic as airtight as that?
Flies down to Earth, sometimes producing a demigod like Hercules in the process. And this guy's the leader? Hades was definitely cold and spent years planning his revenge, but he was clear about it to the other gods. When using Meg, she offers her soul to him in exchange for her lover's life. Hades actually accepts this deal and holds her to it, despite the fact that Meg's boyfriend ditches her, which causes Meg to be stuck with Hades. Although it's a sad situation, it's not one Hades instigated. He merely used a situation for the betterment of his plan against those he feels wronged him.
So my issue with that whole place on the list, and it's not just because I want to have an issue with everything. My issue is Hades was never really supposed to be painted as a villain. It's true he was the antagonist of the Hercules movie where Hercules was the protagonist. But as far as mythology goes, Hades is never painted as the antagonist. He's the god of death and he has a sucky job. But in the end of the day, I wouldn't consider him a villain. So I agree with the actually right, except he wasn't right in the movie because in mythology, he doesn't have these massive coup d'etats where he tries to like destroy the world and take down the gods and stuff. He's not a villain and he is right. But as far as the movie goes, they portray him poorly as far as his character and he tries to like take down the gods and stuff. So they do make him a villain, but then he's not actually doing his role as the god of the underworld, so therefore he's wrong. Like that's my issue with this list. It's like it mixes the mythology of Hades Hades with the character of Hades in the Hercules movie. Basically what I'm saying is Screen Rant don't know shiz and should have read Percy Jackson to the Olympians.
I only wanted to help.
Syndrome.
Syndrome! All right, I'm too excited. I like The Incredibles.
Syndrome.
At least the first one.
Syndrome was the charismatic and over-the-top villain from the hit 2004 film The Incredibles. His outfit screamed villain, and he was seemingly...
His outfit screamed villain. Why do people do this? Why does he have to describe every single villain? It's like, he's actually a villain because if you look at his horns and cape and outfit, it looks like a villain. Like, I don't get that whole mentality, bro. I mean, the guy dropped a robot in New York City and wiped out, like, a ton of buildings and probably killed a ton of people. That's why he was a villain, not because he's gelled his hair.
The evilest dude out there. But was he really? We don't think so.
Was he really? We don't think so. We, the Screen Rant, objectively moral individuals that have collectively come together to create a paradise for villains, don't think he was actually evil. Did he wipe out an entire city to just flex on Zawarudo and show off that he's actually, you know, a pretty epic dude? Yes, he did kill many people in that assault, and if not for the Incredibles, he would have ended up killing out the entire city. But that aside, we don't think he's a villain.
At the start of the film, Syndrome is actually just a boy and the biggest fan of Mr. Incredible.
Right. So he got his feelings hurt and then killed tons of people. Very good. That doesn't mean he's right.
Like fanboy screaming up and down and has all the posters and toys fan. He's just minding his own business one day and actually stumbles into Mr. Incredible while fighting crime. Eager to help in any way, he offers his services only to be rejected due to not having any superpowers. Ouch.
Bro, ouch. Fam. Man, I feel so bad for his feelings. I mean, that totally justifies the fact that he killed tons of people.
Naturally, this had a negative impact on the young boy, and he grew up to become a villain in the eyes of the Incredibles. But was
a villain in the eyes of the Incredibles. Not that he's actually a villain. He's actually right. But in the eyes of the Incredibles, not fam. That's the issue.
Syndrome's plan really all that bad? Sure, perhaps he was a bit naive and not seeing the bigger picture.
Wasn't seeing the bigger picture. The guy killed tons of people. And even if you want to somehow magically say that by taking down buildings in New York City or whatever, he didn't actually kill anybody magically. Bro, he was luring heroes into his base to fight robots so he could build up his robots, and his robots kept killing heroes. Remember when Mr. Incredible found the computer thing and I was like, this superhero, and they showed a big X, that the superhero died. You know, he killed like dozens and dozens of heroes to protect his robots. That's not a villain in the eyes of the Incredibles. That's a relatively bad dude, morally speaking.
Picture, but all he wanted to do was give regular folks their own superpowers.
All he wanted to do was to give regular folks their own superpowers.
Bro, I think we were watching a different movie this entire time. Do you remember when he said, in the movie,
something more along the lines of,
when I'm old and I've had my fun, I'll sell my inventions so that everyone can be superheroes. Everyone can be super. And when everyone's super, no one will be.
Once he's had his fun, he'll just eradicate the idea of superheroes from the planet by making everyone super. He wanted to flex on them, feel really good about himself, kill lots of people in the process, and then when he's bored, give them power. I mean, he also maniacally laughed when he shot down Mr. Incredible's ship and thought that he killed his wife and kids, and he was like laughing all evilly. Like, I actually did kill your wife and kids. Wow. What a good dude that just wanted to give people
so
power.
They can be the best person they could be. Admit it though, with your powers, you would be in trouble within the first 10 minutes of getting them. So this plan may not be the greatest plan, but he did mean well. Lotso seems like a pretty
Toy Story 3, I never saw, did I see Toy Story 3? I don't know, I saw 1 and 2.
brutal character. He may come off as a lovable teddy bear, but he's actually a toy criminal mastermind who runs
Toy criminal mastermind, I have to watch this movie.
the daycare like a prison. No one gets out with Lotso in charge. But why is he like that? Lotso has some serious abandonment issues.
So, I mean, I never saw the movie, so I don't want to judge or anything. Based on what he just said, he's running a slave camp for toys because he has abandonment issues. That doesn't make him right. It just makes him effed up in the head.
He was once loved and treasured by a little girl until she forgot him at a rest stop. But since she's unaware that the toys are sentient beings, her family just replaced Lotso and got her a new one from the store. Lotso saw all this go down and it tore him up inside. Toys don't have the same understanding we humans do, nor do they have the same emotional range.
So it's okay to run a slave camp.
Lotso took this as a huge betrayal after he walked all the way back home. So he felt no other toy should go through what he went through. He was certainly extreme in his methods, but he definitely didn't mean any wrongdoings. He just wanted all the toys.
I mean, it's okay to start running the mafia if you have abandonment issues. I think that's what they're trying to say here. Oh, baby Gaston! You can't run like Gaston. You can't sing like Gaston.
Gaston. Oh, Gaston, what are we gonna do with you? This guy is class
Sing
A
with him.
douchery who's in love with himself. When he's not away
Facts.
soldiering, he's known to be rather controlling, misogynistic, and kind of unpleasant.
All right, so this man is controlling, misogynistic, unpleasant. He also tried to kill Beast Thing, and he also tried to marry a woman without the woman agreeing, which most people think, at least in 2020, not such good vibe. I mean, hey, how are we gonna turn it around, Screen Rant?
But when you factor in that this is the 1700s and just about every man was, guess
Bro! Screen Rant up here standing up for the misogynists of the 1700s. You heard it first. But when you factor this in,
factor in that this is the 1700s and just about every man was, Gaston just becomes a face in the crowd. But when
he was actually right, because he was terrible at a time when men were terrible. I mean, I don't know.
standing next to the Beast, Gaston actually shouldn't be that bad. And no, we're not talking about their looks here. Gaston didn't exactly do very many nice things in the film, but most of what he did, the Beast also did in some capacity. Gaston actually wanted to marry Belle from the outset, while Beast wanted to own her in a less than acceptable fashion.
I mean, the Beast actually had relatively justifiable action about him. If he would have let her go, she could have maybe told people, and they would have gone to kill her. And as we know, Beast didn't want to die. I don't know. Those are some pretty justifiable reasons as to why not to let Belle go. Gaston, on the other hand, was, as they put it, misogynistic, but that's okay.
When the Beast locked up Belle's father, tie game there, boys, Gaston started a mob to rescue Belle from the kidnapper, who was known to be violent when he was angry, a trait that Gaston never had for all his flaws. He ultimately ended up dying on a crusade to rescue the girl he wanted to marry, but since Belle—
I mean, yes, but also she didn't want to marry him. It's like a slight detail that they keep forgetting to just mention, bro. The Mad Lad has this whole video talking about Gaston. He was just trying to save this girl that he wanted to marry, but she didn't want to marry him. But we'll forget about that. We won't mention that.
wasn't into Gaston, he was perceived as the villain. He may not be—
Yeah, he was perceived as the villain because she wasn't into him. It's like, oh, well, RAPE from one perspective, not so bad, because from the other perspective, it's true she wasn't into him, but, you know, I mean, what? What are you saying?
Prince Charming, but he definitely wasn't abusive or violent. That's it for now, everyone. Which villain do you think was actually in the right?
Which villain do you think was actually in the right? Well, I think it was in fact Screen Rant. Screen Rant in this case is the villain in the right, because he is basically saying that, oh yes, you could have Nazi slave camps, like, that's totally fine, because they had abandonment issues, right? I mean, you could try and destroy the entire ocean and claim all power for yourself, because you were, you know, excommunicated because you're probably a bad woman. I mean, that's kind of the vibe I'm getting here. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. So, name a villain that was actually in the right. Definitely Screen Rant. They're a villain. They put together a list of disastrous ideals, but they were in the right because as far as YouTube goes, this is child-friendly content. They got 6 million views on that. I mean, that's a hefty hunk of dough. So, congratulations.
Was there anyone that we missed that you've always thought was a better character than we were led to believe?
What was that line? Better character than you were led to believe. That's not even what you were talking about.
Let us know in the comments below. And of course, give this video a
Bro, it was Chicken Run.
like and click that subscribe button to get all the latest content added to your playlist.
Bro, you need this latest content added to your playlist. You probably didn't think that slave camps are even adequately appropriate.
Thank you all so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did, because finding really terrible videos is one of my favorite things to do on this lovely, beautiful, wonderful, heartwarming platform of chirping birds and frolicking children, or whatever the hell other nice euphemisms you want to hear. Point is, I had a blast doing this. It was much more fun than I even expected. I went into it blind, just knowing the idea, and it turned out to be so worth it. Link to my Twitch in the description. I want to do a lot more of these, reacting to videos that you guys choose. And if they're really bad, like this one, then I'll make a YouTube video out of it. So please leave a like on this video to counter the whole child murder demonetization thing that will probably be happening. And subscribe for future content where I have a wonderful time doing my favorite thing, annoying people online. Hell yes, I'm toxic, but you know what? So is almost everyone else, and I own it. So I think that makes me somehow less toxic than other people. Yeah, that's right. That's the thought process and logic, and we're gonna go with it. Really appreciate you sticking around till this point. It was a lot of fun. Check out all my links to all my shiz in the description. Let me know in the comments future really terrible videos you want me to talk about. Have yourselves the most wonderful evening, and remember to stay weird, fam.